Hello, and welcome to the Christmas special of the 5th quarter with your host, Ben Schaefer. Hey guys, Merry Christmas. And how is it going? Yes, it's that time again. Another episode of the 5th quarter. Now, let's get things started off with Edwin Jackson signing a 4-year, $52 million deal with the Chicago Cubs. As you all know, I am a Cubs fan, hence the Cubs helmet I got for Christmas right here. And look, I know the Cubs are terrible. You don't have to put that down in the comment section because that's obvious. Okay, let's just get that out of the way right now. But I think if they're going to win the World Series in the next 5 years, they're going to need a superstar pitcher, which Jackson could turn into. Now, I know he went 10-11 last year with the Washington Nationals and posted a 4.10 ERA, but I do think that he could be a good fit with the Cubs since they got guys like Jeff Samardzija. Football games. Yes, we had Atlanta over Detroit, New Orleans over Dallas, Indianapolis over Kansas City, San Diego over the Jets, Cincy over Pittsburgh, Carolina over Oakland, Denver over Cleveland, Baltimore over the Giants, New England over Jacksonville, Green Bay over Tennessee, Miami over Buffalo, Washington over Philly, St. Louis over Tampa Bay, Minnesota over Houston, Chicago over Arizona, and Seattle beating San Francisco on Sunday night. But the first game I will be talking about today will be the Saints and Cowboys game. Now, the Cowboys had to win this game in order to keep their playoff hopes alive, but they lost. Lucky for them, the Giants did lose, so they're still alive in the playoffs. Now, this was a shootout between two quarterbacks, Drew Brees and Tony Romo. Brees completed 69.8% of his passes for 446 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Romo completed 60.5% of his passes, 416 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And yes, late in the game with 15 seconds to go, the Cowboys tied it 31-31, and that sent the game into overtime. Yes, DeMarco Murray fumbled on like the 10-yard line, which led to a Saints touchdown to make it 24-17. And also, they had another miscue in which Jimmy Graham recovered, I believe, what was a muffed punt at the Dallas 3-yard line. Saints kick the field goal. They get out of here. Game over. So, I guess, yes, Cowboys, you were saved by the Ravens. That is obvious, but your problem is that you haven't been able to win in December, and you gotta get working on that. Ravens and the Giants. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Giants 33-14 in Baltimore to win the AFC North Division. The Giants, on the other hand, could be out of the playoff picture, but they will be looking for a wild card in all of the teams. The Vikings, the Bears, and the Cowboys all have to lose, and the Giants have to win, and if the Giants are going to make the playoffs. Ravens, yes, they finally won their division, and depending how the seeds go in the final few weeks of the season, they could wind up being either the third or fourth seed. But the two wildcard spots are locked, though. Those teams are the Colts and the Cincinnati Bengals. So on to the Niners Seahawks. In a blowout, the Seahawks beat the 49ers 42-13 in a game which Russell Wilson dominated through 4 touchdowns and only 171 yards. He also completed 71% of his passes. Marshawn Lynch had 26 carries for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, the Niners could very well be in trouble here, because I think if they lose this weekend and the Seahawks win, then the Seahawks will win the NFC West Division, making the 49ers the 5th seed in the playoffs. So Niners, you gotta get this done this week, and you have to beat Arizona, in which I think you should pretty easily. The NFC East is now down to 2 teams, the Cowboys and the Redskins. So, if you ask me, I think the Redskins will win this game because it's being played in, I believe, Washington, D.C. on Sunday Night Football, so I will give the advantage to the home team on this one. I think RG3 and Romo are going to play great games, but I also think that Dallas will be haunted by their December curse with Tony Romo. Therefore, they could miss the playoffs if they can't pick up a wild card spot. Speaking of wild cards, they're still out there. They got teams like the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Bears, the Giants, and the Cowboys. Now, the Seahawks already got in. Now, that leaves the final wild card spot left. Now, either the Niners or Seahawks will come out in the West, so they did take a playoff berth, so therefore there are only 2 spots left. Whoever wins the NFC East and the 6th seed in the playoffs. So if the Bears win and the Vikings lose, they're in, and the Giants could get in if the Vikings, the Bears, and the Cowboys all lose. So yeah, yes, there are several scenarios that could play out, but I do think the final wild card team will be the Chicago Bears. AFC playoffs. Everything is all figured out except the seeds. The top 3 could obviously move around next week. The Texans can clinch home field with a win on Sunday. The Broncos could also clinch home field, but Patriots could clinch a first-round bye if one of the Texans or the Broncos lose and the Patriots win, or if the Patriots win and both teams lose. I believe that the Patriots could clinch home field advantage, and it seems like Baltimore is locked in the 4th seed. Colts and Bengals, we all know, are locked in at 5 and 6. Now, buy or sell, Adrian Peterson rushing for 208 yards against the Green Bay Packers next Sunday in Minnesota. I'm going to sell that. I think Eric Dickerson's record is far out of reach, but if he does that, Adrian Peterson would get my vote for MVP. Speaking of MVP, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, or Adrian Peterson. Who knows? It's going to be a very close race, but if Adrian Peterson can't break Eric Dickerson's record, I hate to say this, and trust me, as a Patriots fan, this burns, but it's Peyton Manning. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been eliminated from playoff contention by the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. So I think Pittsburgh just want to feel better about your season. Just win out, beat the Browns, in which a game you should win pretty easily, and just think about next year. A lot of good teams can have some kind of so-so seasons, and unfortunately it happened to you guys. I'm sorry, but this year was not your year for the playoffs. I thought that you could go back to the playoffs, but that was not the case. So this could be because of Hines Ward retiring. I don't know, but hey, things happen like that. The Indianapolis Colts have made the playoffs as the 5th seed. Now, if you look back 9 months ago, they were getting the first pick in the NFL draft. They dropped Angelock 2-14 last year. Worst team in football. Now look at another 10-5. Also, Chuck Pagano is going to return on Monday. And I will pick the Colts to upset the Texans on Sunday. The Bears right now are 9-6. So I think if the Bears lose this game against Detroit, I do think Lovie Smith would be fired, considering they had a 7-1 start to the season, and now they're 9-6. So they've just been bad. They've had a very bad first half of the season. Also, what is going on in New York? They benched Sanchez, that they're going to trade Tebow. The Jets will look for all trade markets for Mark Sanchez. Tim Tebow will be a Jaguar. It sounds like they're going to fire their GM. So yeah, bad things are happening in New York right now, and so far those issues haven't been solved yet. So the off season for the quarterbacks are going to be very interesting. I gotta go make a part 2.